Hi everyone, my name's Christopher Edwards and I've recently come back from climbing Kilimanjaro for a fantastic charity that we insure and support called Youth for Christ. I'm not sure exactly why I agreed to do it. I went to a fundraiser for Youth for Christ at the end of last year, and after the event I got a letter from the CEO, Neil O'Boyle, just talking about a possible trip to Kilimanjaro, and it just really sparked my interest, which I'm still not quite sure why, because I don't really like camping and I'm not really in good physical shape or an explorer at all, but something just really resonated with me and it was just something I really wanted to do. The training for it was quite tough because I've never really done anything like this before. The only walking I ever done was around the golf course. So I took myself off to Snowdon a lot with my other half Donna and with other friends as well, and just did lots of trips kind of up and down Snowdon. Obviously the only thing was Snowdon's only 1,000 metres tall and we were going to almost 6,000, so there was no real way of kind of practicing for the trip, but I just wanted to try and get myself as fit as possible. Day one of the trip, we left the hotel in Kilimanjaro and we got a transfer to the Mashami Gate. That's like the foothill of the mountain where it kind of starts for people like us. That's about 1,800 metres. So day one, from the Mashami Gate, we were heading to the Mashami camp. That was 11 kilometres away through the rainforest, pretty much all uphill. It was quite a brutal kind of introduction to the mountain, but I guess why would I expect anything else? This is tough. We're 10k in on day one, about a kilometre away from the camp. Can't wait to get there. It's been a really tough start, but the views are incredible. Day two of the trip, once you got through the rainforest, then you got above the clouds. It changed so much, like the views, it was all very, very dramatic. I've got some great pictures kind of above the cloud line looking back down onto the camp where we started as well. We covered a lot of distance on day two. We did 11 kilometres for the first stint, so that was to get from the Mashami camp to Shira Cave. We had lunch there at the camp, and then in the afternoon we did some acclimatisation training. So we went up another few hundred metres to then come back down to the same camp, but we were assured that it would kind of set us up well for day three, and I think it probably did. I just had my head going forward on that downhill bit. Just look back and you see this, absolutely amazing. You just don't expect to see snow on top of the mountain. The guys are all living life and having a little sing-song. About 3,800 metres and everyone's feeling good. It's just weird to see snow in Africa. Day three of the trip I found really, really difficult. Going from the Shira camp, we headed up to Lava Tower. That was over 4,000 metres. It was a really grueling morning. I think it was about 11 kilometres to get there. The summit's well and truly getting more and more into sight every day. Keep plodding along. When we got there, I'd never been to a height anywhere near that before, and I was really struggling at lunch. I couldn't eat, I was kind of swaying around. The altitude really hit me badly. Luckily in the afternoon we then headed downhill to Branco camp, again all part of the acclimatisation training, and that I felt a lot better in the afternoon. I think some people were quite worried about me at lunchtime because I was in a really bad way, but then as the day went on I did start to feel better, and it was just such a relief to get to the camp that evening. So it's day four. This has been our camp where we stayed last night. So we went up yesterday to about 4,600 metres. I struggled with the altitude a bit there, and then we came back down to camp for about 3,700. So what faces us now is the Branco wall, and it's this massive wall here. You might be able to see the people on there. So we're going to work our way up that for the next hour and a half, and hopefully we'll all get to the top safely. But the mountain looks incredible today. So that was kind of quite intimidating at first to see, but the Branco wall I got a real adrenaline rush from, and that was probably the most enjoyment I had from like a physical point of view for the whole trip. Incredibly, got from the Branco camp, we climbed a good few hundred metres to get to this point on the Branco wall. Probably one of the hairiest things I've ever done. It was definitely dangerous, but like really got the adrenaline going. It's just absolutely stunning. I just hope these images kind of do it justice when I get home. But it's just beautiful, and I see the clouds just kind of coming in. It's just so surreal. There's the team over there just having a little break, and we'll be cracking on. Getting to the top of the Branco wall was a real sense of achievement. We all did really, really well. It was quite scary, quite sketchy at times. It was scrambling. It wasn't like a set path, but it was a real sense of achievement to get to the top. So there's a big mountain up there. That telegraph pole, that's Paraf camp. That's where we're heading to. That's essentially base camp for us before we get there. So we're now the afternoon of day 4. We're hoping have a few hours and probably try for the summit about midnight to be there for sunrise about 6:30. So yeah, it all feels very real, but it's been a good day. So day 5 of the trip, it actually started at the end of day 4 because we wanted to try and get to the summit of the mountain for sunrise. So we left base camp at 11:30 p.m. on the evening of day 4. From there it was so grueling. I've got a lot of memory loss. The altitude was really severe. I've never experienced anything like it. I almost felt like I was in a daze trying to get up there. We soon realised at the speed we were going, because the conditions were tough with the snow, that we were never going to get there for sunrise. So it just then became the objective then became just to try and get to the top. At the top of the mountain, I just didn't really get a chance to enjoy the views. I was feeling really bad with the altitude, so the aim was just to try and get down as quickly as possible. I had really bad blisters. It should have taken about an hour and a half to get from the top back to base camp, and it actually took me 6 hours. So it was really tough going. The route we came up the mountain as well, it was too dangerous to go back down that route because of the snow. So we had to come off using an emergency evacuation route, which was effectively kind of screedy stone and quite a steep slope. So with my blisters, that wasn't a good combination. We got back to base camp. It was a case of packing your bag up and then trying to move on to the next camp. So it was a really tough day. I think physically, mentally and emotionally, we all really struggled that day. So since I've been back, people have asked me if the trip got harder as it went on. For me, day 1 was just a really tough introduction. And I've got to be honest, for me, the whole trip, it started difficult on day 1. It did get harder, but it was pretty brutal throughout. I don't know what I was expecting because, it's a pretty big mountain, but it was relentless the whole way. I think from day 2, there were times when I just thought, I can't do this. The people on the trip, there were 12 of us in total. Some of us kind of knew each other a little bit, but I didn't really know people that well. When you're put into that environment with everyone, it really brings you close together. And I'll say the way that we rallied around each other and the way that people rallied around me to keep me motivated and to keep me going was incredible. And without the other 11 people on the trip, there's no way I'd have probably even got past day 3, never mind actually getting to the summit of the mountain. It's quite an operation when you climb Kilimanjaro. You get to Mashami Gate and there were 12 of us. Each person on the trip has 3 porters to help carry all the equipment. I thought that the tents were already set up, but actually everything gets carried and packed down and reassembled as you go at the camps. So 12 of us, there were 36 porters. The porters are incredible. You don't see them really apart from on the last day. They're very much kind of behind the scenes. You do now and again, they go whizzing past you and you just mind is blown how they do it, but the altitude just doesn't affect them. We also had 5 guides leading us. Those guys were amazing. And yeah, obviously without them, we wouldn't have got to where we got. People have asked me if I'd do it again. The first 2 weeks of being home, it was a resounding no. And then for the first time yesterday, I did think, would I do it again? Possibly in the future. I'm still reflecting on the trip at the moment. It was the toughest thing I've ever done. Possibly I would do it again in the future. I'd like to get myself even fitter and see if that kind of helped with the altitude at the top. But maybe I'll just stick to sponsoring someone else next time. I can't thank all of my sponsors and supporters enough. I've been blown away at how many people have got behind me and smashed through my fundraising target. I originally thought, raising £5,000 was going to be a big ask, but to just get through 8,000, I've been really touched by everyone's support. The money's going to a fantastic charity, so I can't thank all of my supporters enough.